So much for joining us on WCNC Plus. I'm Siobhan Riley. Right now, according to FlightAware, more than 60 flights are canceled at Charlotte Douglas and more than 300 are delayed. But it's not just here in the Queen City. Severe weather across the South and Midwest caused a ripple effect of delays and cancellations nationwide. WCNC Charlotte's Anna King spoke to frustrated travelers who say they're just trying to stay patient.
Yeah, Charlotte Douglas has been busy all day, but a lot of that traffic isn't moving very far. By mid-afternoon, hundreds of flights were delayed or canceled. According to FlightAware, over 270 flights were delayed and nearly 60 canceled by 3:30 today. And passengers were met with long lines and packed gates here. The delays come after severe weather swept through parts of the Midwest and South Friday. Now it's not clear if those storms directly impacted operations in Charlotte, but travelers say it's a reminder of how quickly plans can change.
So I was supposed to be on a flight yesterday leaving, I think, around 9:30, and basically they canceled it last night, so it got delayed almost all day.
So it was really just inconvenience with time and stuff.
Right now, airport officials are urging patience and reminding travelers to come here prepared. That means arriving early, checking your flight status frequently, and remembering your real ID. At the Charlotte Douglas Airport, Anna King, WCNC Charlotte.
Lots of people frustrated. And now let's go ahead and get a check of your weather forecast. You are taking a live look at Uptown courtesy of our view cam. We saw some showers to start the day, but luckily the afternoon was much more clear. Meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees joining us now, letting us know what we can expect for Sunday.
Well, it is going to be drier than today, Siobhan. You know, as expected, we had those storms and those showers roll through the area earlier this morning. Thankfully, it wasn't a huge impact to folks across the Charlotte area trying to enjoy their Saturday. A few delays there, of course, at the PGA tournament because of some of that lightning. Usually within about 8 miles is the threshold. But again, thankfully, it was earlier in the day, allowing for a really nice afternoon. You can see across the board from Anson County to Monroe, Dallas, Lake Norman, everyone looking dry and quiet at this hour. The cold front that's going to move through the area tonight is going to allow for drier conditions heading into Sunday. I wouldn't necessarily say it's going to be a big cool down, but we are going to see drier air mixing in, so it feels more comfortable heading into tomorrow. If you're with us yesterday, Brad was talking about the fact that we were seeing dew points in the 70s, which is a little bit more remnant of summertime, and not just summertime, but normally when there's some kind of tropical system nearby. So it is extremely, extremely humid yesterday afternoon, and out at the PGA tournament, which I was there, I can definitely attest to that as well. With the cold front rolling in this afternoon was expected to be the windiest day of the week. We, of course, are seeing that across the board. You can see some 20 to 25s across the Charlotte area, even in the mountains, recording about 40 miles an hour. Again, thankfully, whether it's the wind or the rain chances, everything settles down for tomorrow, the last day of the PGA tournament at Quail Hollow. We'll mix in some mostly cloudy sky conditions earlier in the morning, still a very mild night ahead. And then tomorrow afternoon, lighter winds at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. But look at that temperature, only in the mid 80s. So with the drier air, it'll feel more comfortable. Coming up throughout the show, we'll talk about the rest of the upcoming week and how we're still chasing that first 90-degree day of the year, Siobhan. That's all coming up.
All right, thank you. New tonight, we are learning a York County deputy is on administrative leave after being arrested. The sheriff's office says a Marion Mitchell is accused of leaving her dog outside for several days without food, water, or shelter. She is now being charged with a felony ill treatment of animals. SLED is investigating the case. And tonight, CMPD is investigating a deadly shooting in West Charlotte. It happened just before 3 o'clock this morning. They say a person was found with gunshot wounds in a parking lot on Freedom Drive. The person was pronounced dead at the scene. Police haven't shared details about what led up to that shooting or if they have identified a suspect. And tonight we are learning the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Fraternal Order of Police is wrapping up its preliminary no confidence vote survey against CMPD Police Chief Johnny Jennings. The FOP says out of its more than 1,700 police officers, more than 800 responded to that survey. The organization says more than 70% of voters are in favor of moving forward with a formal vote. This move by the FOP follows a controversial closed-door settlement between the city and the chief. It's reportedly tied to a dispute sparked by former council member Tark Bakari over officers who wanted to wear outer carrier vests. And at the State House, ever heard of a substance called kratom? Well, some call it a supplement, others call it a drug, and it has grown in popularity over the past few years. Researchers say people use kratom as a pain reliever or as a stimulant. Now, you can buy it almost anywhere, but a new bill just signed into law is aiming to put restrictions on the drug. Josie Frost is at the State House with more.
A handful of states have already outright banned kratom, but this bill aims to regulate it and keep it away from anyone under the age of 21. Experts say until there's more research, it can't be so accessible. In smoke shops like this one here in the Midlands, you can find kratom in powder, pill, and even liquid form. You can also find it in some grocery stores, sold as supplements. Senator Russell Ott says he was inspired to file this bill years ago after his constituents raised concerns.
They had a family member that was using kratom that they felt like had led to a lot of problems, a dependency on kratom. And they said they just didn't think that it was good stuff and that they had looked into it and there were no laws whatsoever in the state of South Carolina.
The product is not FDA approved, and the DEA lists it as a drug or chemical of concern, but not a controlled substance. The law would outlaw selling kratom to anyone under 21 and require it be kept out of reach, meaning it would have to be behind the counter or secured in stores. Sean Arendt is a professor at USC's Arnold School of Public Health. He's working on research on kratom. He says while it can be harmful at high levels, in lower doses, the effect can be similar to what's seen with caffeine.
Where it appears that most of the addictive issues come in, at least based on the evidence that's available, is with frequent use, more than 3 times per day, and with doses above 7 or 8 grams at a time when we see that.
Arendt says there's a compounded form called 7-hydroxymetragenine that appears to be more addictive than opium.
And that makes it much more challenging, and I think that's where some of the legislation is actually targeting, is to prevent these synthetic compounds showing up in an otherwise natural substance.
Arendt says he's working on research on the potential harms or benefits of kratom in low dosages. This law will take effect in July.
And new tonight, the town of McAdenville says its mayor passed away. Jim Robinette was first appointed as mayor in 2016, then won 2 additional terms. Robinette is a U.S. Army veteran and served the town for nearly 20 years before he became mayor. He was 80 years old. His funeral is set for Wednesday afternoon. CMPD Animal Care and Control says it's still low on space this weekend. As of this afternoon, officials tell us there are 23 open kennels for dogs. There are 225 dogs at the shelter in total. They are urging anyone who is able to consider adopting a dog or host a pet for a staycation. If you are interested, both locations will open at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And NASCAR fans are taking over North Wilkesboro Speedway this weekend. All-Star Weekend is bringing plenty of excitement to the legendary track. Joseph Leonard is hearing from folks coming to the Triad from near and far, watching the best drivers in action.
From first-timers to diehards, from fans just down the road to across the country, NASCAR fans of all stripes are packed into Wilkesboro, ready to experience the roar of one of the sport's most iconic tracks.
The racing is loud, the fans' passion is louder. Fans at North Wilkesboro Speedway are here for one thing: NASCAR.
Race car drivers.
Race cars and drivers, man. You want to take it easy on the track, be really nice to each other? No? What do y'all want to see? Fast, bumping and grinding, right?
Yes.
Fighting on the track. For some, racing isn't just entertainment, it's a family tradition.
In 2001, so I was born, I sat on his lap, and I've watched every single NASCAR race since.
Rachel Denzing, her father Frank, and her boyfriend made the trip from Long Island, New York. They hit several races each year, but this stop in Wilkesboro was a must.
It's short. You got movement here, people could pass here, you got multiple grooves. It reminds us of our track back at home in Riverhead, Long Island, So, nice small track racing. Crosses off my bucket list too.
Others like Austin Vayuso are just starting their family's racing tradition, bringing his 2 sons, Noah and Holden, to their first ever All-Star race.
NASCAR is definitely family time. It's family friendly. It's great for getting all the little guys. Maybe we can't make it to Daytona and Talladega and all these big far races, but when it comes local like this, are you kidding me? We're like about an hour away. Yes, this is where we belong today.
But one thing is for sure, whether this is your first race or your 15th, the hype for this weekend showdown is electric. Reporting in Wilkesboro, Joseph Leonard, WCNC Charlotte.
So much excitement. And right after the break, the latest in deadly storms that ripped through Missouri and Kentucky.
Very thankful that that storm system, while it did create some strong storms this morning, was weaker by the time it got here. No more rain issues to worry about for the rest of the weekend, but could we see some changes heading into early next week? Forecasts coming right up.
Tomorrow morning on WCNC Plus, Pope Leo XIV will preside over an inauguration mass in St. Peter's Square. You can stay up late and watch at 3:30 a.m. inside the WCNC Plus app. Deadly storms ripped through the Midwest yesterday. In Kentucky, the governor says at least 18 people were killed overnight. He says that death toll is likely to rise. In Lower County, 9 people were killed when a tornado touched down. The search is continuing for survivors today. Neighbors are sharing what it felt like and how they are what they remember about that moment.
I went in the house and I looked out the side window. And when I started on the side window, it looked like all that stuff was coming from up instead of, I couldn't see the tail or nothing, but it just lifted like it's lifting everything up. And I turned around, I run back in there and told everybody get in the closet, get in the hallway, get in the hallway. So I got in the hallway and put my hands over everybody, and it started blowing the windows out. And you talking about praying. I prayed harder than anything I could ever do.
Just devastating. Right now, Kentucky remains under a state of emergency. Meanwhile, cleanup is underway in St. Louis after 2 tornadoes killed 5 people last night. The storm also damaged dozens of homes and buildings, including a historic church. Tens of thousands are still without power at this hour.
The devastation is truly tremendous. We are estimating right now about 5,000 buildings have been impacted.
And St. Louis officials say FEMA has contacted them and they are ready to assist with the disaster recovery. A curfew will be in place tonight for the city. 27 people in total were killed in severe storms across the Midwest. And in Northern Virginia, 2 people were killed after trees fell on their cars. These deaths happened in 2 separate incidents in Fairfax County. Fast-moving severe thunderstorms whipped the D.C. area with downpours, lightning, hail, and strong winds last night. And now let's go ahead and get a check of your weather forecast, Brittany. We saw some showers here earlier, but thankfully nothing as intense as the storms we just talked about.
Yeah, nothing. It was part of the same storm system, and this does happen a lot in the Carolinas where the storm system is a little bit weaker by the time it gets here, but your heart just breaks for those folks and the families. And, you know, it's never good to look back at or I guess sometimes it is good, but, you know, it's never good to look back and think what if, but I think in this situation, it's just a really, really good reminder as to staying weather aware, knowing what the forecast is, and having a way to get alerts. Nocturnal tornadoes, the ones that occur obviously at night, normally lead to about 80% of deaths in the United States. Because if many folks don't know about the severe weather potential, they're not staying aware, they don't have multiple ways to get warnings, they lose power, no cell phone signal, things like that. So having those safeguards in place can be detrimental. So keeping those folks in thoughts and prayers, but encouraging you all, as always, to stay weather aware anytime we have severe weather here in the Carolinas, whether it's severe weather season or hurricane season, which does kick off in a few weeks. 86 degrees right now. It was another warm day, not quite as humid as this time yesterday. Dew point at 63 for perspective. 24 hours ago, it was sitting at 71. Of course, we are going to see some slightly drier air mixing into tomorrow. That's kind of been that one thing that we've been looking forward to for a few days now. There's where the cold front is as it rolls through. Some smiles on the muggy meter indicating drier air in place. Now, it's not going to last forever, and it doesn't mean that we're going to have a completely dry, quiet next few days. It'll be a very brief drop in that humidity, but a drop nonetheless. As we go into your hour-by-hour forecast, we have a few things to kind of pause here for. Tomorrow morning, no rain, but we are going to see a decent amount of cloud cover. Now, it will not be thick clouds that take up the entire sky. This model in particular picking up on a lot of clouds because a lot of these are high-level clouds. One of the reasons why meteorologists are a little bit better than weather apps. If you had a weather app here, it would say 100% cloud cover. However, we know that there's different layers of clouds, which means different layers of the atmosphere. So this high cloud cover will still allow for temperatures to still warm into the 80s. And while we are staying mostly dry heading into the day tomorrow, we could see a brief isolated chance for rain, mainly toward the evening hours. So if you look at the day-by-day forecast, I'm still keeping a 0% in for the daytime hours on Sunday, but I do think a brief shower is possible closer to sunset and after 8 p.m. Mostly dry, though, heading into Monday before, again, kind of like what we'll have tomorrow. We have a very small limited potential for a few thunderstorms, a little bit of rain, mainly after sunset. So while these are not causing severe weather, if you have plans maybe Sunday night or Monday night to get out and enjoy some dinner outside, you may encounter one of those. Again, it'll be very isolated and not a huge impact. Mostly cloudy sky conditions for this tomorrow morning. Heading into the afternoon, eventually sunshine mixes in. You have to keep in mind, too, when we talk about rainfall potential when there's dry air near the ground. This happened, I think it was last weekend. If rain can fall from the clouds but never actually reach the ground because of that drier air. So dew points tomorrow in the 50s could be our saving grace if some of those pop up again around about 8 o'clock. Now, what you may notice if you're outside the next few days, which I think I certainly noticed at the PGA Championship yesterday, is a little bit more standing water as of late since we've had multiple opportunities for rain. Of course, we had Monday, almost a week ago now, then the Thursday before with the hail day, and then 2 weekends ago during the Love and Life Music Festival. So with more standing water, while we're not at our highest levels for mosquito activity of the year, certainly going to notice that's a little bit higher than it has been over the next few days. Here's your Guy Roofing 7-day forecast. Again, we're keeping in those low wind rain chances really from now through Wednesday. Then actually a bit cooler and drier heading into the last weekend here of May, or at least the last full weekend here of May. Of course, upcoming next weekend, Saturday the 24th, Charlotte FC back at home. Perfect weather with highs only in the upper 70s. And then you got to get a look at that extended forecast. A few low wind rain chances heading into Sunday and then Memorial Day, but unlike we've had a lot of times over the past few years, it does not look like Memorial Day is going to be a washout by any stretch of the imagination, and really no day looks to be a washout over the next 10 days.
All right, thank you. Cornelius Police and the U.S. Coast Guard are making sure everyone stays safe on the water this summer. They hosted their annual Safe Summer Launch Day this afternoon at Blythe Landing Park on Lake Norman. They shared important details for boaters in an effort to avoid tragic accidents on the water.
Wearing life jackets is absolutely critical. The vast majority of the drownings that have occurred here on Lake Norman have occurred because the occupant of the vessel or the person that went swimming was not wearing a life jacket. Basically, almost all boating accident fatalities are preventable by wearing a life jacket.
Good advice. There was a dedication ceremony for the Coast Guard Auxiliary radio station. Its creation brought critical upgrades to communications for boaters and first responders on Lake Norman. Right after the break, we are live from Quail Hollow with an update from the PGA tournament. Stay with us.
with a lot of familiar names not on the cut list. So the day actually started today with some thunderstorms delaying the first tee time. So we're actually still underway right now in the third round. But today we have seen a lot of movement up and down this leaderboard with some more of those familiar household names starting to rise. In the top 10 right now, we have Scotty Scheffler, Bryson DeChambeau, Keegan Bradley, Tony Finau, a couple of Americans starting to make their place here in the PGA Championship. Scotty actually is part of a three-way tie for first right now. He is 3 under for the day. And Keegan Bradley, of course, is the Ryder Cup captain, and he said he's happy to see some familiar company start to move up.
It was great. It was really difficult out there. So any round in the under par is a great score. Really proud of the way I finished up. Those last 3 holes I think are the toughest finishing holes in the world. So what a way to finish. I was really excited to see Scotty and Bryson up there. I'm always taking a peek at the leaderboard, seeing where I am, but also seeing where our guys are at. And I love looking up there and seeing the leaderboard packed with Americans.
All right, now it's a busy day in North Wilkesboro as well. The NASCAR this afternoon, starting with the trucks race. Though Behind was the leader for much of the day, but he spun out towards the end. So the caution came, and it would be Chandler Smith crossing first and picking up his 2nd win of the season.
Special just to win here at Wilkesboro. I mean, there's so much history here. Riding the elevator, the trophy's awesome. Being this close to home, you got friends, family that come out and watch. So it's really special just simply because of that. My confidence has been high. I mean, I know what we're capable of doing, and if we all do our jobs and execute, this is the result of it. It's so cool. It makes all the winning more special. It makes all the blood, sweat, and tears that you put throughout the week to get to this moment, to be able to execute and be able to be in victory lane with all the people you care about.
Now another playoff game over at the Bojangles Coliseum tonight as the Charlotte Checkers are hoping to extend their series lead in the Atlantic Division Finals 2-0 against the Hershey Bears. It was a gutsy goal in the 3rd period from John Leonard that helped give them that first game win, and they feel it's their toughness all around that is going to bring them to the finish line.
Mental toughness, right? Physical toughness. You just have to break the game down into micro goals, per se, like shifts, and just make sure you're focused and get the job done. And you always have to make sure your bench is right, too, to help guys out with the lead talk. So, yeah, the building block, but lots of work to do.
And it's been a bit of a rough stretch for Charlotte FC as of late. 4 straight losses in MLS play, which includes 3 straight being on the road. But Charlotte FC returns to the bank on a short week. They just were in Orlando playing on Wednesday. But they welcome the change as they look to turn the tides as a team that not long ago sat in first place in the Eastern Conference.
Well, definitely when, you've been on the road quite a bit and you've not got the results that you feel that you've deserved. But I've said to the players, and I said it today, 4 games ago we were top of the league, and I've not changed since then. I didn't get too high, and I'm not going to certainly get too low that we've lost a few games, because in all honesty, our performances are better than probably when we're winning games. And
Charlotte FC has their kickoff tonight at 7:30. Carolina Ascent also in action tonight. Lots going on, of course, tonight in the Charlotte area, guys.
A lot going on.
Yeah.
And Danielle, you look like you're having a great time out there.
Yeah, how can you beat this beautiful day? Tons of people.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, but it's pretty toasty.
Yeah.
Well, good news. If you are heading out to the last day of the PGA Championship tomorrow, it will be a little bit drier. A very small isolated chance of a thunderstorm later in the afternoon. We're really dry near the ground, so anything that tries to develop, it's going to have a hard time getting there. And then relatively quiet for this upcoming week. We're looking at more of a summer-like pattern with just an isolated shower storm potential through midweek. And then a pretty strong cold front comes in Thursday, Friday, and into next weekend. And not only will it be drier, but we could have some cooler days again. I mean, sunshine and highs in the 70s in May. You really can't beat it.
I think I'll take that because it's been toasty hot outside.
Yeah, and the humidity, like we were talking about in the break, has been insane.
It's been crazy. Well, that does it for us at 6 o'clock. We're going to see you back again on WCNC Charlotte starting at 7:30.